Hey there, this is K4A, Knowledge for All educational videos and tutorials. Today I will show you how to resolve another problem which will show up for some of you in GameMaker Studio when you try to test run, to test play the Windy Woods template, official GameMaker Studio template for the first time, and the error looks like this. So let's go to GameMaker Studio and test the game, run with F5 or clicking on this button play here. And while we are waiting to game to load, oh yeah, it was relatively fast. Anyway, while just a short reminder for you who didn't watch the previous video, I gave the link few videos ago to download Windy Woods free GameMaker game template from official GameMaker Studio page. And in previous video I have tried to import that YYZ file of Windy Woods, and I got problem with importing that file, and GameMaker was freezing, crashing, and somehow after repeating that process and getting the error every time, I got some of the files extracted and double clicked on the YYP file, and it started, and I got some files. Not sure still if those are all the files as in original file, but I have to work with what I got here. So the first thing which I try to do when I have opened this file is just as I did right now a few moments ago, press the run button here, play or F5, and see how the game looks in how it plays. That's what I guess probably most of you will do, and click on the play. But immediately I got this problem here, and I got this error message, which I will zoom here, although it's a little it's not higher resolution, so but it's good enough for us to see. Yeah, these windows, these errors, they are meant in to for you to read them. They are not a joke or something you should just click abort, clear, and so on, close it. It's those windows are actually helping us while we make our games or application or any kind of software, and they gave us hints and tips how to do it, and where to find the error. I wasn't talking about that in my on my YouTube channel or so far on my GameMaker Studio tutorials, so this will be exclusive. This will be a good thing to see how everything we talked about was in some kind of perfect situation where you didn't have these kinds of problems, or situations where you just are stuck somewhere with error, or cannot go further with your progress. So this is a really good example, and it's even more funny because it's it happens with official GameMaker Studio template. And again, I don't mean to humiliate them or say how they did something wrong, or they're not professional or whatever. It happens lots of times, and it happens on in different game engines, in different in same game engine with different game engine versions and so on, file formats and so on. So that's what I was talking about in a few previous videos with all of those different GameMaker Studio formats. Just be aware that that is real world production and development. So anyway, let's get back to our error, and let's read what the GameMaker Studio gave us as hint. Error in action number 1 of create event for object obj game manager. So here you have a hint where your problem is, and if you read this couple of times, you'll probably yourself be aware, and I think that you should start with trying to find the error in object obj game manager, and when you find that object, you should go next where in create event, because you have probably couple events of there, and then in action number 1, that is first probably action, I don't know how. Yeah, you have some lines here, but I'm not sure how lines are seen. We will see that in visual programming. Anyway, we know where the error is, here in object obj game manager and in its create event. So let's try to find it. So objects are saved in mostly in that's also what I was talking about earlier, that you should save your objects in objects folder, just for faster production, and you can save them anywhere you want, but it makes more sense to save sprites in sprites folder, objects in objects folder, and so on. So managers, okay, so objects, managers, and we need to find object obj game manager, and again, if you have watched my previous videos, you know that we also use some kind of similar names, objects, obj managers, game managers in our games, so nothing new for us here. Okay, so object obj game manager, create event, and let's see what do we have here. Okay, lots of stuff here, so I will make this a little bit more visible. Yeah, I see that these guys made comments here, those green texts and letters, words, they represent comments which you put in GameMaker Studio code and every other game engine, just to explain what you have coded, and so other coders can find their way, or you, if you have made a pause with this code, so you come after some time, you don't know where do some of your code is or what your code is working, so that's why these comments are, which is great. But I'm trying to find what action number 1, let me see here what else. Variable obj, now I have a description of my problem. Variable obj game manager opera gx. Okay, so I have to find something with opera gx OS operative system. Not set, so some variable is not set, it's not defined, and that makes problem for GameMaker Studio to make the game, compile it, to run it, test it. Okay, so opera gx, and I have the line 58. Okay, do I have lines here? Yeah, because this is a visual scripting, so I don't have lines. If you open the GML version of this document where coding is in text and numbers, you would have some kind of lines in line numbers in your GameMaker Studio, so you could jump to line 58 and find the problem faster. At least for me it's faster, but anyway, this code is not so big, so we'll find it. You can see how many blocks we have here. So again, this is official GameMaker Studio template, and I'm just opening, trying to open the game. It didn't run, so I'm trying now to find the problem and solution for it. So create sequence, I don't need that. Assign variable, okay. If variable, create sequence, else. Okay, so I see it here. Just by scrolling from top to bottom, I was trying to find this guy here, OS Opera GX. It wasn't visible here. Game HUD, okay, I don't need that. Post, false, okay, I don't need it. Browser, okay, we are close. Controls, okay. Here it is, variable OS type, OS Opera GX, OS Opera GX. So I have found it, and let me see what is that thing working for me. If the game is running on Opera GX, it creates the touch control sequence. I'm not going to use Opera GX, and so I can click on this one and disable it. Simple as that. I could even delete it here, yeah, delete, but I don't want to do that. To maybe it will maybe make another problem for me and so on. So I'm still new with this template. I didn't work on it yet. So let me just see. Okay, if variable OS is OS Opera GX equal to create sequence, I will disable this one too, because they are connected. And let me see what's below it, because sometimes even you got this help from GameMaker and other game engines, where your problem is sometimes is one line above or below it. So if it's line 58, you should also check out the line 57 or 59, just to see the whole context of what you are facing, and where the problem is, and what you are going to change. Okay, so I will disable this one also. Operative system type Android. I'm not running the Android now. I'm on my PC. I don't need touch controllers for it. And also iOS. So I have disabled how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. And they were OS type OS Opera GX, create sequence, OS type OS Android, create sequence, and if variable OS iOS, create sequence. You should have all of those here also for your game, because as I said, this is official thing from GameMaker Studio, so not something I made. I will control save it and I will run it now. Maybe I think it will work. And but let me see. Play. Yeah, it takes some time, but it looks good enough. How do I jump on space? Nice. I'm not sure if you can see this. In some of my last videos, I was I forgot what I was working on. Something which was full screen, and while I did that in OBS, while I was doing that and making the capture with OBS, somehow my full screen wasn't recorded. So okay, so if I touch this one, yeah, so this works well. And yeah, I won't play this. I will try to die. Okay, one more heart. And the main thing is here, which we, yeah, oops, another one. another code error, and uh, again something is messed up because something else, as always. FX create filter pixelate, probably because I will check that in next video. This wasn't supposed to happen. This video was about this error and you trying to run the game for the first time, and the problem when you try to do that. So this error which you saw just now when you lose your health and die is something else, and I will explore that in some other video. This one was long enough, 15 minutes, and I hoped it helped some of you. And again, it's just about me sharing some kind of experience with exploring this Windy Woods template from GameMaker Studio, and learning from it, and sharing some knowledge of it, so some of you won't make same mistakes or problems which are there in it. And I'm also trying to show you how in game development you get those a lot. It doesn't matter if it's some asset you just bought or some official tutorial or engine or whatever. That is something which happens a lot in IT in general, and especially in game development. So the whole idea is for you to try to find a solution, to try to find some workaround, and to resolve the problem on your own. I will share some of my experiences, but just don't give up, and no matter what you see or are faced with, just try to find the solution. You will do it sooner or later. That's it for this video. Bye for now, and see you in next one.